And when you're surfing away and playing yourself there, Big Brother's face is going to come up on that screen there. And Big Brother's going to say that you've been using too much kilowatt hours this week. And you're going to get cut back because you've been a bad boy or girl. And Big Brother's going to demand that you do things and scare the bejesus out of you, because, you see, in old days, they had to come to your door. At least neighbors would get around you, or relatives or something. This way, this is what totalitarian government always wanted to get to, and this is what George Orwell said himself, and H.G. Wells long before that. Government will not be in charge until they can talk to you directly, with no relatives, no wife, no husband around to stand up for you. You're on your own. It increases the fear and compliance. All written about a long time ago. But they say it's for your convenience. Oh yeah, you'll see. Same thing with the airports. Now, the securities at the airport and all the rest of it. And the century of change, the 21st century, was kicked off really by the Twin Towers coming down. They could never have done it without it. And everyone knows it definitely wasn't what they told us about. We darn well know this. This was intentional to kick off this whole totalitarian war of terror across the public, on the general public. Well, all our rights are stripped away from us. And they've already been stripped away. But they're not stopping with ID cards and all the rest of it, and airport scanners. They're going beyond that. Because, you see, in the new Sovietized world, and they're using the Soviet system, remember, that's what the Club of Rome said. They preferred the collectivist system for managing the general public. There's no back-talking, you see, in this system. There's compliance, or you're cut off from something. Cut off from your bank account. Cut off from what you need. Just simply cut off. And not content with seeing through you and dehumanizing you, and that's what you always do with prisoners. You'll dehumanize them, strip them naked, laugh away. Just do it at an airport scanner, you see. And it's true enough, 6-point-something billion people across the planet are supposed to have their whole lives turned upside down because one guy had a firework, supposedly, a dud at that, strapped to his thigh. That's the excuse we are given for this. Can you believe it? Could you believe it? People used to really fight back, you know, for much, much worse than this. They'd fight back. Now we get nonsense answers and excuses to strip of us all rights and get us all naked. And get x-rayed to boot. Which does go along with the whole theme, because x-rays are accumulative and they'll sterilize you even more than you already are sterilized. So that does go along with the agenda of depopulation. Never mind the cancers that break out too. Because it's a death. You see, they also wanted not just birth control, but death control, stepping up the amount of diseases and illnesses folk can die of before they get to a pensionable age. That was also discussed at the Department of Population at the United Nations. A long time ago. This is reality I'm giving you here, folks. Beyond the suits and ties and the PR shows. Back with more after this break. Hi, folks. This is Alan Watt, and we're cutting through the matrix. Talking about the encroachment of government right into your home in many different ways, physical and through the internet. And that's what's to be worldwide fairly shortly for everybody on planet Earth. And we've got to remember, too, that the GATT treaty and all this free trade negotiation stuff is about the free flow of goods, but only for authorized international corporations, you see. It's really to keep everyone else out. And the free flow of labor. And once again, it sounds wonderful. People think, well, we can take off to this country if there's work. And no, folks, it's to restrict the flow of labor. They want the labor that corporations have asked to have brought in only. That's what it's about. So the New World Order is to have you all basically roped in to your own authorized area of your home. Your home could be a few miles wide or even less, in fact, because this is a Sovietized idea. If you ever saw the talks by Bezmenov on YouTube, he was an ex-KGB defector. He talked that he showed you his card. He had a card to travel. All citizens had a card to travel just within their own little local area. If you were found outside that area, they could arrest you and ask you why you were outside of it without permission. You had to get permission to go outside of it for travel, even to visit relatives and so on. That's the kind of totalitarian world structure we're coming into because, see, the United Nations wants a nice, tidy planet as we are sterilized and we quietly die off over 50 years. And during that, we're already doing it. We're dying off now. See, they've been at this for an awful long time with the death control, as I say. But they want the world to be nice and tidy, less problems for them, where mass fluxes of people will be trying to get out of one country and go to another, where they're setting up employment and factories or work of some kind or another. That's what it's all about. And so that's what your ID card is all about as well. The ID card ties in with what I'm going to read here, because here's the next step with it. So they get the pilots to come forward now, the Air Force pilots to come forward with their suggestion, which of course they told them to say. This is how they do it. Joe, you're in charge of the pilots. So yeah, I am. Yeah. We want you to do this favor. Come out and make this statement to the press on our behalf. Okay, boss. What's in it for me? And it gets a few, you know what it's like. This is it's an article from The Independent. It says, pilots criticize security as Britain makes body scanners mandatory. So that sounds like they're maybe on the side of the public, but no. A leading association of airline pilots has called for a rethink of passenger screening, claiming that passenger trustworthiness should be prioritized ahead of intensive physical screening measures. The call came on January the 28th, 3 days ahead of new restrictions in Britain that forced passengers to submit to the controversial body scanner screening in order to fly. From February the 1st, any passenger flying from London Heathrow, the world's busiest airport, who declines scanning will not be permitted to board an aircraft. Similar restrictions are soon to be implemented at Amsterdam's Schiphol Airport and are currently under review in the U.S. Actually, they're going in the U.S. and they have been for quite some time in some airports and Canada as well. Despite the new rules, U.S. and Canadian Pilots Association, ALPA, has branded charges to the security system an inadequate response. So here's where it goes next, you see. The group believes that today's screening systems have been reactively modified since the 1970s to respond to a changing threat, leaving the current system effectively a patchwork of band-aids. Our layered aviation security system is in dire need of major reform, said Captain Rob Powers, ALPA's National Security Committee chairman. Our proposal focuses on identifying people who pose no threat to aviation and quickly moving them through a screening process that is commensurate with the level of trust they've earned. So you've got to earn trust now, you see, by being a goody two-shoes. Remember, this is combined with your interactive government Big Brother webpage, who's going to tell you if you've been a good boy or not and getting little black points that eventually will bar you from leaving the country. This is what it's all about, you see. This approach to aviation security is more sophisticated, more efficient, and significantly more effective than the current methodology. In other words, political reasons will censor you from getting a good screening, your plus, so you can go out of the country. This is what it's all really, really about, behind the pablum here. ALPA believes that a new data-rich screening system, that's all your information again, akin to the modern credit check used by banks, should be introduced. They've actually been using a type of it for quite some time, but this is to go the whole way now. Each passenger's identity would be verified and then scored. You get a score point, you see, allowing them to be marked as no or negligible threat, unknown threat, or known threat. Security officers would then adapt their actions according to each passenger's threat level, from a quick X-ray metal detector scan to an in-person threat assessment or flight ban. Much of the work would be done before the passenger even arrives at the airport, because it'll all be done behind your back, you see. According to ALPA, the new screening methods would allay privacy concerns surrounding the introduction of body scanners, speed up the boarding process, and increase public confidence in aviation. I love how they always bring it. Well, but we'll be happy with that.